What's up, ladies and gentlemen, it is yours truly, Fitz. I'm coming back to you guys with a PvP Go Battle video. I'm currently 11 wins and 14 losses deep, and I've learned a lot. And I'm going to share my knowledge with you guys on what I've learned and what you can expect in PvP battles. Now, right away, thanks to Go Stadium, make sure you follow them. All their links are in the bottom of this infographic here. These are the common Pokemon that you do come across. Now, I'm going to give you my experience, and you can surely share your experience in the comment section down below and your winning teams. It helps everybody out. I have not run across Zapdos. I have run across Venusaur, although it's not that hard to cover. I've not come across any Lapras. I've come across a couple defensive Deoxys, but honestly, with the Pokemon I was running, I didn't have much issue. Same thing with Altaria, didn't have much issue. Azumarill, as long as you have a poison attacker of some kind, or a grass attacker, or even electric, you don't really run into too much of a problem with it, but it can be an issue. Skarmory is an issue if you don't have an electric or fire type. It can be hard to get rid of. The number one Pokemon that I have struggled with is Registeel. Now, this Pokemon by itself has dictated my losses. Like, I would have counters for the first two Pokemon, take them out, I'm out of shields, they throw out a Registeel, and I'm screwed. I've lost 2 games, 2 battles, where I had 2 Pokemon left, no shields though, 2 Pokemon left, no shields, he had no shields, and he still won because he had Registeel, a solid steel type, and I had no answer for it. And I was winning the battle, mind you, both those times that I came across it. You need to make sure you at least try to account for Registeel, even if your opponent doesn't have it. Umbreon isn't too hard to cover, but we will go over that. Bug types do super effective damage to it. We'll go over it. And then Swampert's not too hard to cover either. If you have a grass type that's a Razor Leafer, it takes like 5 Razor Leafs to get rid of Swampert. And if it's a Tropius, which that's what I use to take out Swampert, it's a piece of cake. But real quick, let's go over what the PV Poke said about the premier picks. And this is where I think a lot of people are getting their information from, and we're just going to kind of go over it. Make sure you follow PV Poke on Twitter as well. Azumarill is pretty much a staple, but I will say I don't always come across it. It shows you what it wins against and what it loses against. Registeel, this is one Pokemon I have not seen. It's Alola Marowak. Out of 20 battles, let's see, I'm 11 and 14. Out of 25 battles, I have yet to see Alola Marowak. So if you are the same as me and have yet to see Alola Marowak, make sure you run it. We'll go over what you need to run it with in just a minute as far as moves go. Like I said, defensive Deoxys haven't come across too much, but it can be annoying. Skarmory, obviously, Registeel can beat Skarmory because Skarmory will literally tickle it. Also, defensive Deoxys because of Thunderbolt, and it looks like even Swampert too. That's very interesting. Tropius, this is the situations I've been coming across. I'd have my Tropius, it'd be the last Pokemon because I'm taking out some water types, and they throw a Registeel in there, and it's game over. It's so hard to counter this if you have counters to take care of these two. And you could say, quote unquote, your counter for Registeel is dead, or your counter for Skarmory is dead, or your counter for Altaria is dead. This is the situation I've been running into the most. You want to have a surefire counter and have it in the back of your conscience that you have to save that Pokemon somehow, some way, because your opponent might throw one of these 3 Pokemon out: Registeel, Skarmory, Altaria. That is the reason why I've been losing. I have not been prepping myself for the end game. I've been going out, winning it, and getting ahead big time, saving a shield or 2, but when the main Pokemon that should have been countering Registeel, Skarmory, Altaria dies, but I don't know that, that's when I lose. They throw one of these out at the end, and I lose. But I didn't know that. So, the meta is very interesting. I've only come across one Sableye, and it was not that hard to deal with. I threw out Azumarill, they didn't have one, I dealt with it. That's a good Pokemon to counter it with, but there are others as well. These aren't the only ones. Swampert's not too hard to deal with, if you ask me, as long as you have a grass type of some kind. Azumarill is good. Altaria. I've yet to test Clefable, but apparently it's really good. Same with Wigglytuff, with a Charm. Wigglytuff, you could have Charm with Play Rough and Ice Beam. Try that. Try Wigglytuff with Charm and Ice Beam. And Play Rough, because it's a 10,000 Stardust new move unlock, so it's pretty cheap. And then, of course, Alolan, Marowak, you want to run Fire Spin, Shadow Ball, and Bone Club. Now, they do have a bargain bin. These are, obviously, we know how good Whiscash is from the Sylph Arena. We know how good Venusaur is. Meganium is pretty good because of how tanky it is and the access to Earthquake. Clefable, Charm, Meteor Mash, Psychic, Meteor Mash, pretty OP. The thing is it loses to Registeel and Skarmory, so that's kind of an issue. Especially Charm not doing that much damage to Steel. I've ran into a Mantine. It was a little hard to take care of because I didn't have anything and I wasn't expecting it. Bubble, Ice Beam, and Bubble Beam. You could also run Bubble, Bubble Beam, and Seed Bomb. That's OP. Seed Bomb on Mantine is OP. So, here's some example teams that I've been seeing run. I've come across this one. This one, just about all of them. People aren't using Tropius because people don't have access to them. Come across this team, so you could already, because like I would say 60% of the time you're gonna come across a team that's formed like this, and you already know that they're probably gonna have these Pokemon, so you can counter that. Now, one thing I want to go over are Pokemon that are sleepers and that can help you win. One of them being Crawdon. I've tested this. It is an animal. It is an animal. Now, it is weak to Bug, Electric, Fairy, Fighting, and Grass. It resists Psychic, Dark, Fire, Ghost, Ice, Steel, and Water. Those are some pretty good resistances. Why does this Pokemon, like, why is it so good? First of all, it has Snarl. Snarl is OP. I run Snarl with Bubble Beam and Night Slash. Night Slash has a chance to dramatically increase your attack stat. Bubble Beam decreases your opponent's attack stat. Now, Crab Hammer is a big hitting move, but I run Bubble Beam and Night Slash as setups. Now, if we actually look at the charge moves and we go to Night Slash, right here. Night Slash only takes 35 energy and does 50 damage. That's insane. Here's the thing. Snarl, it only takes 3 Snarls. Snarls has a 4.33 energy per turn gain. It only takes, Crawdon, 3 Snarls to get Night Slash. Yeah, that's pretty much the... I think that is the fastest charge move gain I think I've seen in the game. That's insane. 3 Snarls, you get a Night Slash. Especially if you do get that attack increase, because it is, you know, there's only a chance. You're well on your way. And considering that Crawdon has a pretty high attack stat for the Great League, it's insane. Test Crawdon, give it a try. I think you'll like it. Next up, Fortress. Fortress wasn't even on this list at all. There is no Fortress on this list at all. And it's surprising because Fortress is a force to be reckoned with. Especially with the moves. So give it Bug Bite. And I gave mine Mirror Shot and Sand Tomb. Sand Tomb decreases your opponent's defense. And Mirror Shot has a chance to raise your attack. Boy, I don't remember. So it looks like Mirror Shot has a chance, I just looked at the app here, to decrease your opponent's attack. So not only can you decrease your defense, you can decrease their attack as well, being a very good setup Pokemon. That makes Fortress a very good setup Pokemon to lead with. It is a fairly safe lead. Here's why. It is only weak to Fire, ladies and gentlemen. It is a safe lead. One thing that's interesting about Fortress is it's kind of a just like you would this Pokemon, you would just let it die off. You don't shield and you lead with it, because here's one of two things. One, your opponent might shield a Mirror Shot. That's great. 2, your opponent might shield a Sand Tomb. That's great. Sand Tomb will decrease their defense. Fantastic. That also might force a switch out. Forcing a switch out just changes their buffs, or their nerfs, right? So when it comes back out, it's not nerfed anymore. But then you could switch into a Pokemon that you can wreck it with. So Fortress is nice. It could draw shields, and it could force a switch out for you to win. Very nice. It also keeps your shields because of its super high defensive stamina. Fortress is a fantastic Pokemon. I'm sure some of you guys have already had luck with it. Now, Beedrill is a Pokemon that I haven't tested yet. but Beedrill is a very good Pokemon because of its moves. Poison Jab, Infestation actually even has a higher EPT. If we look at Infestation, 3.67, and then we look at Poison Jab, 3.5. It's slight. I don't think it's enough to warrant not using Poison Jab because it has better damage. And you can run Fell Stinger and Sludge Bomb. Now here's one thing that's interesting. You can run Arrow Ace to cover, you know, bug fighting and grass types. And that's great, but your Poison Jab is already covering grass types. Okay. One thing I've run into, and we're going to go into this Pokemon here later, is the Poison does super effective damage to Fairy types. What main Fairy type do you run into in the Great League? Azumarill. Poison Jab wrecks Azumarill, and so will Sludge Bomb. And Fell Stinger has a chance to increase your attack. Now, it is a low, powerful move. Like, let's see, it only does 20 damage, I do believe, which isn't that great. But the fact that you can lower your opponent's attack stat guaranteed is pretty nice. We look at Fell Stinger here, only 20 damage, but it's only 35. You couple that with, Poison Jab, you're going to get this off a lot, and you're going to be able to lower your opponent's attack stat a lot. So if you put this against a Azumarill, you would want to shield, obviously, an Ice Beam, but you'll probably be able to knock out Azumarill because Poison Jab is doing super effective damage. Bubble is not doing that much damage because you decreased its attack. You could also draw out shields. If you use a Fell Stinger and they drew a shield, and then they only have one shield left, and then you do Sludge Bomb, one hit KO. They didn't shield it because they thought all you had is Fell Stinger. Yeah, so I think Beedrill is going to be fantastic. If you've tested this Pokemon, please let me know. I am going to be testing it probably tonight. Next up, Scolipede. I actually talked a lot of crap about this Pokemon before Gen 5 came out. Well, comes to find out, because Poison type is so important and countering Azumarill is so important, this Pokemon made the list. It is weak to Fire, Flying, Psychic, and Rock, so this is not a Pokemon you want to take against a Bastiodon or a Skarmory. But it does have Poison Jab, X-Scissor, and Sludge Bomb, so it has some pretty spammable moves, especially with X-Scissor, and it has Sludge Bomb to take out Azumarill. That's basically the only purpose this Pokemon really serves, is taking out Azumarill. It can take out some other Pokemon, I'm sure, as well. It resists Fighting Grass, Bug, Fairy, and Poison, so it would be good in a Poison-Poison matchup. Also, you could use it against, Umbreon as well, that was on the list. So, worth trying. Give it a shot. It definitely has a niche. Here's a Pokemon that I'm surprised no one's using. Raticate. Because you can darn near max this Pokemon out, it's strong. Its attack stat's high, which means Bite does a lot of damage. Or you can couple it with Quick Attack, get a lot of energy per turn, and spam Hyper Fangs and Crunch and do a lot of damage. I don't run into very many fighting types. I run into Medicham sometimes, but they're 50-50 on if they have Counter as a quick move or Psycho Cut, because both are equally good. Psycho Cut having better energy per turn, which means you could spam Power Up Punch and Ice Punch, but then you got Counter doing more damage and still have a good EPT. I don't know why anyone's tried this. It would be an excellent counter to Deoxys, absolutely. Excellent counter to Deoxys. It would be fun against almost anything else, honestly. It would do okay against these Pokemon because Dark does normal damage. Dark does normal damage to Steel. And I think a lot of people forget about that. So, Alolan Raticate could be a pretty solid Pokemon if you build a good team around it. Next up, Skuntank. And this is the Pokemon that I have religiously been testing and having some really good results from. It's only weak to ground. It resists Dark, Ghost, Grass, Poison, and Psychic. This is an excellent Pokemon to go up against Azumarill. It's an excellent Pokemon to go up against, Deoxys, Venusaur. It's not so great against the Steel types, but if you get a Flamethrower off, depending on the situation with shields and whatnot, I've taken out a Registeel with Flamethrower. So, Poison Jab, Flamethrower, Crunch is what I would run personally. Sludge Bomb, you already have a Poison move, don't worry about it. Pretty good. Now, if you really want to knock out Azumarill, Sludge Bomb for sure. I might play with that. Crunch is, you get it very quickly. Flamethrower is just, it's a very interesting move. You know, you can take out Venusaur, you can take out the Steel types here. It's very interesting. It's Skuntank overall, great. I suggest you test it. You won't be disappointed. Next up, Magneton, because of it recently getting Thundershock now. It finally has Thundershock, which is fantastic. Magnet Bomb and Discharge. Need I say more? Magnet Bomb is going to cover your Rock, Ice, and Fairy types, which is fantastic. AKA, you know who, Azumarill, and Bastiodon too. And then Discharge is going to cover any Flying or Water types. Both moves charge up extremely fast, especially with Thundershock. It's so OP. The only thing you're going to have to worry about is fighting types because they can be prevalent, and same with Fire too. A Mud Bomb, Whiscash can cause you some trouble, but it's a pretty good Pokemon. And next and last is Galvantula. Galvantula's got an interesting typing. It's only weak to Fire and Rock. It resists Electric, Fighting, Grass, and Steel. And here's the thing, and it's not on the database. And I talked with my fellow GoHubbians. Fury Cutter, Volt Switch, both fantastic moves now that Volt Switch got buffed. You could run Discharge, and it's not listed here, but X-Scissor. Discharge and X-Scissor, that would be really OP. I think that'd be a fantastic spammable Pokemon that also has some really weird typings that can excel in the Great League. I really do believe that. This is an insane typing. It really is. You do run into Fire, it's possible, I get it. And you can run into Rock, it's possible, I get it. But those spammable moves and this weird typing, I think it has a chance to succeed. And I bet no one, if you throw this out at someone, no one's not going to know how to deal with it. They're going to be like, what is this? You know? So, there you guys have it. There's some, I would say off-meta Pokemon, but some new Pokemon that you guys can test with and build teams around. Pokemon that can counter the main Pokemon as well. And always know, design your Pokemon teams around the main ones that you will see. And chances are you're going to have a higher chance of winning than losing. So, again, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What Pokemon have you been running? Which ones have you been having success with? Which ones have been giving you the most problems? Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Be a part of the Fitz City fam. That's the boy Fitz City. I'm signing off. See you guys in the next Pokemon Go video.